Hello, partners in crime. It's great to see you. I have great news. Today we have with us the fabulous John Lansing, who is the author of six thrillers featuring Jack Bertolino.
There you go.
He also is the author of the true crime nonfiction book, Good Cop, Bad Money, written with a former NYPD inspector. You've been a writer and producer on Walker, Texas Ranger, and the co-executive producer on the ABC series Scoundrels, and you co-wrote two movies of the week. You've been busy.
I have, and yeah, nicely so.
And originally you were on the East Coast, but now you are in LA, correct?
Right, right. Marina Del Rey, California.
Oh, it's beautiful there.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. And I had Jack move out from New York. So yeah, I mean, as you said, I spent 15 years writing for network television, right? And 5 years co-writing and producing Walker, Texas Ranger. And it was later in my career that I wrote a memoir of an Uber cop, not a fantasy, but a real
Mhm.
cop, and spent months learning about the inner workings of an NYPD undercover detective. I came out of that experience with one question that had never been answered for me. How does a detective who spent 25 years working undercover in the drug trade, taking down drug dealers, cartel operatives, money launderers, and thieves, how does that man retire without some kind of blowback?
Yeah.
And the story of my first book became he couldn't. Made no sense to me. And Jack Bertolino was born in my first novel, The Devil's Necktie. I wanted to write about a detective who was recovering from a nasty divorce, bad relationship with his son, retired from the NYPD, and moving west to reinvent himself, moving to Marina Del Rey. But I knew I needed some kind of big event to occur to get the story and his character off and running. One of the things that I learned doing the memoir, because it was a year of my life, it was like
Mhm.
going to college, was that in order to take down a big case, you needed to have somebody on the inside working undercover, a confidential informant. And it was amazing how true that was when I talked to other police officers. But so I created Mia, a confidential informant who came back into Jack's life because of a promise he made on an earlier case. He promised that he would be there to help her because it's very dangerous being a confidential informant when you're trying to infiltrate the cartels. You make one move and you end up dead. So Jack, he promised he would be there to help her. She knocks on his door, and Jack gets pulled back into the game. I enjoyed that relationship. I just so much, Jack and Mia, that I decided to write the prequel to The Devil's Necktie,
Yeah.
and it became my latest novel, Mia. And so
No,
that's where we are now.
that's amazing. I love the interplay. So Jack was retired when Mia
Right.
came back to his life.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Trying to
And
reinvent himself, feeling comfortable for the first time in years. Knock at the door. Mia's standing there. And he goes, okay, all right, all hell is going to break loose. She's turning in her chit. He made a promise, and she's there saying, I need it now.
and you really have to feel for Mia because as a confidential informant, she doesn't know who to trust. And
Exactly.
and she picked him. So
Yeah,
that adds
yeah.
an
They
extra.
both proved each other in Mia.
Mhm.
You'll learn that in Mia. It took a while. It took a while. And as far as Mia goes, though, yeah, I know that you wanted to hear a bit about her backstory, but
I do.
I decided that I'd rather let Mia tell her own story because if I share the story now, you need a spoiler alert. It interrupts and gives away another important part of the book.
Mhm.
And it's important not only for Mia's backstory, but it's very important for her relationship with Jack. It's so important that we should just let them read the book and hopefully enjoy that experience. Do you know what I'm saying? But
I
what I
do.
can share is
Uh-huh.
that Mia and Jack worked side by side, setting up a sting to infiltrate Manuel Alvarez's cocaine organization. This is a major honcho in the cartels, and he delivers 1,000 tons of pure Colombian cocaine every month into Miami, and it drips down into New York City, which is why Jack wants that guy's head on a pike. But Mia and Jack, in a late night one-on-one, Mia confides in Jack and wants him to know why she's willing to prostitute herself in order to take down Alvarez. Now, Jack, he questions her motives, but then he sees how emotionally charged she is, sharing her history, and he becomes a believer,
Hmm.
and their relationship changes for the better.
So I have a question. Are you
Yeah,
willing to share how Mia went from being a Miss Columbia to being in the position that she's in?
not really.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Let me just think. Um, no, it's the
It's a
story.
big,
That's
okay.
the story.
All
What
right.
happens to her that creates a person that wants retribution.
Well, I know that you wrote this story because
Right,
so many people loved Mia in Devil's Necktie.
right.
And there, I mean, everybody was asking you about her. What is it that personally drew you to Mia, to want to tell her story?
I'm attracted to to strong women. Uh,
Hmm.
I, I don't waste time with people that I'm going to spend a year of my life with writing,
Right.
unless I'm really engaged by them. And and it was clear right off, even in The Devil's Necktie, that she was a powerful woman, that what she accomplished was incredible.
Hmm.
And putting her life in jeopardy in the way she did and coming out of it alive, but wanting to stay alive.
Right. Yeah.
Um, that's why, it's enough that I knew that I'd enjoy spending that trip with Mia and find out, listen, when I write a book, I don't outline.
No.
Some people work with outlines, but half of the novelists that I know, they work by the seat of their pants. Because once you get all the characters like on the game board, and you know where the story is moving, the characters start telling you where they want to go, where they have to go, where it only makes sense that they go. And I knew that I'd enjoy that experience, and I really did. And I really had fun writing it. And I think that's why people are responding to it the way they are. Because if I didn't enjoy it myself, I don't know how anybody else could. I don't play that game.
Yes, everybody seems to be really enjoying it. And it just released yesterday, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
So not everybody has managed to get it in their hands yet.
No, no. Hopefully it'll start rolling.
We're very excited. I've been checking my mailbox every day.
Right. Okay.
So now your first several novels were traditionally published,
Right.
and your last novel was published by you.
I
Um,
self-published.
right. And then this one, you went a different route. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Well, that journey was changed because Karen Hunter published the memoir
Hmm.
um, that I wrote with Glenn Morisano. He was the retired NYPD detective. And then when she signed on she had a deal at Simon and Schuster, and she approached me and said, "Would you like to come?" And I said, "Yeah, yes, I would." My whole career, if the door opens, I try to step through. I'll take the challenge, whatever it is. And so we wrote the first, one, two, three, four books together. The fifth book, I self-published. After the pandemic, things slowed down. I self-published it. It was a fabulous experience. I was very nervous doing it, but it turned out really well. The response was really good. We moved a lot of books. And in that process of taking control of my career again, I got a call from Karen Hunter. And she said, are you interested in, I'll publish it or we can publish it together, which is what we're doing on this book. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And then this great offer, she said, well, would you like to do the audio book?
Mhm.
And I said, yeah, I would. So she's just fabulous. I mean, Karen Hunter's fabulous. I feel blessed to be working with Karen again. She's smart, again, a powerful woman, incredibly talented. I feel very, very lucky to be working with her again. So I said, yes, I do the audiobook. I've never done an audiobook before. Another door opened, and then the realization struck me that I have to do this now. I'm committed. I have to narrate my own book. And it sounds like that should have just been a blast, right? Oh, okay. But the reality was I had to read 75,000 words, the words that I wrote, 75,000 words, and 37 chapters in 2 days.
Oh,
It was
wow. That's a
two
lot.
8-hour days to read the entire book and narrate an entire book. The first day, so when all was said and done, I enjoyed day two. Let's put it that way. Day one, I was a nervous wreck. It worked out, but it was very difficult. And I got a bit dizzy by maybe the fourth hour in. You can stop and start, and the people were wonderful over there, but I got a feel for it. And so it was a blast. I did have a great time. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to do my next book. And I'm glad I'm getting positive response from the team. Thank God, because again, it was my first, and everyone's got an ego. And it was good to hear, "Oh, yeah. They thought it went very well." So, but now you can all tell me how I did. I'd love to hear from you all. So,
I'm excited. I can't wait to hear it.
right,
Now, it, this is a significant number of books that you've written and
right.
now started to narrate. And I'm wondering how you managed to make the series completely flow together, but each is completely standalone. I mean, that's got
Right.
to take an effort.
Um, it does, but what I've been fortunate with the Bertolino series
Mhm.
is that just about every book, it started because there was a character in The Devil's Necktie that gave me an idea for the next book. Somebody that had a very small part in The Devil's Necktie became a principal and the reason for Blonde Cargo.
Mhm.
And Blonde Cargo, the same thing happened. Somebody else within that book gave me the idea for the next book. So, and each book had to be standalone because there's a case in each book. And Jack Bertolino, come on, let's face it, he has to solve the case, or he wouldn't be Jack Bertolino. Um, and maybe he won't solve all the cases, but up till now, he's been very successful, let's say. So that's how. So there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if I have that germ of an idea, I know I've got a way to start. Now, once I start, and one of the joys of doing a series is that you get to take the characters and the cast of characters that I revisit in each
Mhm.
book and move them along. So you never get bored when you're writing it because they have a life too. And you know what their lives are all about because you've lived with them now for like 5, 6 years. So do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not, It's not that it's hard to write a book, but it's not that hard to make them stand alone. So I think that's where we started with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're writing his books, what is it about him that you admire? Because you come back to him always, Jack.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, he's the star of the books.
Mhm.
Um, he's a flawed human being, and he has a lot of issues, emotional, intellectual, but he's got a base that is that's wonderful. And he'll go to the mat for things that he believes in and people he believes in. But he makes a lot of mistakes. I love flawed characters. I'm a flawed character. I know some of my best friends have major flaws. I still love them. You know what I'm saying? But that keeps something interesting. If it, other work that I did with fictional detectives, they couldn't do any wrong. And that's what I was hired to do. But they never made mistakes. And it was, in the end, this was much more gratifying, this experience. And that's why I keep doing it. And that's why, I'll be doing it into the future.
Yeah, you mentioned that you were still writing. Are you on to your next book?
I'm on to my next book. And let me just see. The next book that's published, isn't a Jack Bertolino book. It's a new character. It's a new star, but it's called Embedded. A
Mhm.
short synopsis is disgraced Army Ranger Dakota Judd is offered a life-altering deal from Gene Steele, an ambitious, attractive Black FBI agent. Dakota's in prison. He's been in prison for 7 years. He's got another 2 years to spend in prison unless he accepts this offer. She wants him, the FBI agent, Gene Steele, wants him to infiltrate a white supremacist prison gang while he's incarcerated, then embed himself into their militia on the outside. She'll see that he gets out if he agrees to the contract. She wants him to become the eyes and ears of the FBI. And if he's successful, his record will be expunged. And if he fails, he'll probably wind up dead. That's the short
Wow.
synopsis.
I'm already eagerly anticipating this one. It's going to be a lot of
Oh,
fun.
excellent. That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. But hopefully
Yeah,
I'll
I
get
can't
that one
believe you're
out
like,
and
it's
continue
not going to be
writing.
Jack.
Did what?
I can't believe it's not going to be Jack, though.
No, yeah, he's a different character. He's a very
You're,
different
you're going to
character.
let him retire?
Jack, no. No, Jack's already retired. But I'm not, no, he's not going away.
Good. So, what is one of the best things about continuing in a series for you? I mean, you're obviously you do other things, but thinking about bringing Jack back, it obviously makes you happy. So,
Right.
what is it that makes you keep coming back to those characters and wanting to continue those cases?
Well, I come back to Jack just pretty much for the reasons that we just discussed,
Mhm.
that because I enjoy the characters a lot. So I know something that's going to happen off of the and because I have notes scribbled down. I scribble on notepads
Yeah.
all the time. They're all over the place. It's kind of hard to sit at my desk sometimes. It's hard to find them sometimes, but I know I wrote something down. But there's a character, one of the cops, a female cop that Jack works with in the prequel, that I'm going to have her come into his life. And I don't know what it is yet, but there's people coming after her. There's blowback for she's retired herself, but she comes back for help, and I think that's going to move the story forward. And so I'll get to to really spend time with a character that was not a lesser, but a secondary character in Mia,
Hmm.
and turn her into the reason for the story. It's always there's always got to be an inciting event that creates so that people, hopefully by page 5 or 7 or 3, they go, oh, you catch them off guard, and something crazy is going to happen. And so you keep turning pages. It's I'm not sure if that answered your question, but
Yeah, absolutely.
that's why. That's what gets me going and gets my juices moving and gets me sitting down and typing and typing. Yeah. I'll
And do
have
you
to go
have
with
like
you.
a specified time? Like you sit down and write every day, or do you just do it at your whim?
Um, once, once again, when the characters are all on the storyboard and I know where I'm going, then leading up to that, I I try to start in the morning because I'm clear in the morning, and then I'll take a break, and then I'll come back and do a little bit more, and then I'll do a little bit more late afternoon, and then I'll do maybe a little bit more after dinner. But once I'm really off and running, I can't stop the story from rolling and the characters from rolling. And
Yeah,
so it becomes really 24/7, even though I'm not sitting at the computer for 24/7. I might be walking down at the marina, and thinking about, one scene, or I'll look at something that I wrote the day before and then walk away and let it percolate and then sit down and put it down. And I don't care whether it's good or bad writing the first time I write something down. I think it's very important to get something on the page and then look at it. And the rewrite process is where it really all starts really germinating and cleaning up. And you go, oh, okay, okay. And then you can move on. Some people don't do it that way. Some people write from the beginning to an end. I
yeah.
can't do it that way. Yeah.
So you just kind of like write your scenes and then pull them together as they fit.
I try, I go in a linear fashion
Hmm.
to tell the story because again, it's the characters that they start responding to where they are and what they have to accomplish or what they're afraid of, and
Yeah.
and what Jack is doing and how they interplay, and that keeps me moving forward. I don't know if that really made sense,
It
but that's
does.
what I was,
No, it's perfect.
it's an inexact process. Let's put it that way. And it's not the same every day. But once I'm there, and when you get into the zone,
Hmm.
that's the best thing. Like when those characters start talking to you, I mean, and I don't mean wah, bah, 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 bah. I mean when you see what has to happen with them, um, it's really exciting, and it's the best part of writing to get in the zone. Back when
Hmm.
I was an actor, if you were on stage and it was all happening, firing on all cylinders, and you're in that space, time kind of stops, and you can be there writing. You can be there for 4 hours and go, holy Jesus, Christmas. Okay. That was a great day. And every once in a while you get that, not every day.
That sounds like a lot of fun. It's not something I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Well, at least not writing. I do get into
Right.
my job and I'll be like all immersed and wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and be like, oh, I need to do that.
That's yeah, yeah, yeah. Hopefully you get a good night's sleep, but yes,
Yeah.
that means you're totally engaged.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of fun. Now, do you do a lot of research for your books? Or, I mean, what kind of research would you need to do?
When I first started out at writing for television,
Hmm.
you still had to go to the library. You go to the library and you'd go up and down the different numbers and go through the cards and pull them out. And you'd have to read them and you'd have to take them in what was it? I don't remember what it was called. But you had to make copies
Yes.
Then, and you don't have to do that now. So basically, sometimes I'll get things from magazines or newspapers or whatever and have like little, just pulled out little pieces of stories that get my mind working.
Hmm.
But for the research, most of it's Google, Google it, Google Maps, Google everything, and you just go in and you find it and you keep tracing it and you find more and more. And it's amazing how many locations that I find, and everybody thinks that I've been there. And oftentimes I do, like when I write around the marina, it's because I live here. And because if you have that level of specificity, people trust the writing because they go, oh, I've been there, or I've done that, and so that helps things. But that's how most of it's done now. Thankfully, because I've done it both ways.
It used to be
And
a
I
lot
know
of
that I
work.
can get an answer if I'm writing something and I go, Jesus Christmas, what is that? And then I, I can keep going, the process keeps moving forward. And that's what you want. You want the process moving forward. So the next day, you can wake up, take a look at where you ended, and then you start again. Keep it moving.
Now, you did the true crime book with the NYPD inspector.
Yeah.
Did that experience play into how you write your novels or change how you write your novels?
Well, it gave me more specific information to draw from when
Hmm.
writing the procedural part of the books, because
Yeah.
that all has to read perfectly. I have a neighbor here that's a judge. So she's a wonderful woman and another powerful woman. And when I'm in a courtroom, I go, Karen, let's go get some dinner. And then I'll pick her brain.
Hmm.
Um, and then I know that what I'm putting down makes sense. And the lawyers who are reading won't get ticked off.
I love how you pull it all together. It's amazing. Well,
That's part of the interest, it keeps you interesting because your mind is fully engaged.
yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait to get my hands on Mia so that I can read the print copy. But what else can we expect from you besides this book you're writing? You're going to be
Um,
doing some events and stuff and other podcasts.
I am doing other podcasts, and when I
Mhm.
have them, I'll put them on Facebook.
Okay.
But if you go to my Facebook, or if you go to johnlansing.com, just it's easy as that, www if you want to, but just johnlansing.com. It'll take you, you'll find out where you can get the information, where you can get the books, where you can get the audio book, which will be released in a couple of days, the audio book. But the paperback, you'll be able to see that. I'll make sure I have it on my website. And you'll know what's happening in the future, hopefully.
That's so exciting. I will make sure to put your links in the show notes so that everybody
Okay.
can see
Now,
where you're
that's a
going to
great
be.
idea. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So before we get off here, is there anything that you want to share with the audience that we haven't talked about?
No, your questions were concise and you made me think a lot. I had to write my cheat sheet, and make sure that I had answers to your questions. I think we did it. I'm hoping we did it.
Excellent. All right. Well, have a great day, everybody, and we will let John go, and I will talk to you all next week.
Bye bye.